they said that Bryce Young unanimously has the best film out of any quarterback in this year's class. That he's miles ahead of everyone else. When it comes to his process and defenses, making checks at the line of scrimmage, his evasion of pressure. The young man does everything at the very highest level, right? Then to top it all off, the Carolina Panthers, even at the end of the season, were still contending for the NFC South crown. So it's not like this football team is a dumpster fire, bottom of the barrel football team. Well, today, PFF, they put out their rookies primed for a breakout. And sure enough, they have the quarterback that everyone said would need more time to develop and be prepared and be ready to play football in Anthony Richardson, a player that we don't even know 100% sure if he's going to be the starter or not. Now, Frank Reich is also saying that Andy Dalton is going to get the first team reps to start out, but literally everyone and their mama knows that the plan is for Bryce Young to be the number one quarterback going into the season, to start the season for the Carolina Panthers. So why is it that all of these media conglomerates, NBC and PFF and all these other publications, whenever they put out their Rookie of the Year contenders or Offensive Rookie of the Year contenders, you almost never see Bryce Young. The slides against the Carolina Panthers are dumb, they're ridiculous, and they are writing off this football team like they always have.
So I want to at least clarify on one thing. The Colts have come out and said Anthony Richardson is their starter, period. They've already made that abundantly clear. Yeah. And so my question is, and this is where I was going to go with this, to play some devil's advocate on this. Do you believe that this is going to be because the Panthers have not said Bryce Young is going to be the starter, even though I think the majority of the fan base would be angry if week one they rolled out Andy Dalton instead of Bryce Young, right? If they, in fact, if is there a part of you that believes that this is the reason that list is the way that it is, because there's a chance that Bryce Young isn't even the starter?
Not for me, because while they may not believe, for some reason, Bryce Young is a starter week one, they've got to expect Bryce Young is going to play at some point in time of the season, and you can break out in 3 or 4 games, as a rookie. So for me, no.
But also,
I think this is a perfect example of what gets good clicks is making a list and leaving off somebody who's supposed to be up there. My friend told me about this. It's like a great trick is like, say, top 5 Panthers and leave off Luke Kuechly's name and it will go bananas, right? It will go bananas. So I think that some of that may be
clickbait or
pandering. and it's in a time, like I said, we're about to enter the dead zone time, right? Where we're kind of searching for stories, right? And this is the time we always say you don't want to see somebody get injured or get arrested on your team.
Right.
Yeah.
So like this is a way to generate conversation, is these are the names too that are exciting, that are controversial, right? And if you put Bryce Young up here in this list, it's not like people are going to be like, oh, Bryce should be on the list. You get more talk about it by leaving them off the list than you do by putting them on the list. And
can I also put this into perspective too? Bryce, I mean, it's not a wrong list, right? Anthony Richardson does have the potential to have a breakout year, because the truth of the matter is Bryce Young isn't going to be the guy coming out here throwing 500 yards a game, right? That's not the game Bryce Young needs to play. Bryce Young needs to be a smart quarterback who's not giving the ball to the other team, who's able to convert 3rd and shorts, right? Who's able to, move the ball down the field, right? I would like him to be able to be the guy who's throwing for 5,000 yards in this first rookie season, right? But I don't think that's a reality, right? I think Anthony Richardson has the potential to throw for 3,000 yards and run for another 1,500 on top of that. So I think when you look at what's going to be, getting the most, let's be real about it, what's going to be getting the most highlight reels is going to be Anthony Richardson. At the end of the year, stats wise, from the efficiency, is going to go hands down QBR to Bryce Young from everything that we've seen.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, but I also disagree with you. I mean, I think if you look at how the offensive line is built, if you look at how the weapons are built, I mean, yeah, I think that Bryce could have an incredible season where he does have all the numbers that maybe we're not expecting him to have. The reason why I even wanted to bring it up is that I kind of disagree with you, Tony. I don't think this is just some tactic for clicks to try and get people to, oh, man, nah. To me, it is a 1-for-1 correlation with the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was so completely pro Bryce Young before the draft. And now, I mean, Tony, if you look around, most lists do not have Bryce Young as a odds-on favorite to be the offensive rookie of the year or the offensive player of the year.
Now that's insane.
It's the dumbest shit in the world, man. And it is true that the Carolina Panthers are viewed by the national media as like we're the runts of the NFL. We're ineffectless. Nobody cares what the Panthers do, how we finish. We'll be middle of the road or worse, and that's just going to be what the Carolina Panthers are. But you know what? I might be mad right now, but I love that for our football team. I love that we have such a talented young football team that the media is blatantly disrespecting to give them enough bulletin board material to come out and smack people around like the Panthers are known to do, baby.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Cody, I agree with you 100%. Like, this is a total disrespect thing, and that was the point I was going to bring up too. Tony, you said that like they do this and it makes people talk about it, but it makes us talk about it. The media is not talking about Carolina right now. Every podcast I listen to, even the ones that went over the draft, skipped over the first pick and started at number 2. Like, they are giving Carolina no respect at all.
Why do you think
it's
they
crazy.
disrespect us? Why do you think like where
market.
it's
we're
like
not flashy.
It's small
we
market.
don't have a Cam Newton anymore to draw all the attention to us.
Let's also be real about it. When's the last time we were relevant?
Yeah,
I mean, we almost won the
when
division
the last
year.
time the Colts were relevant?
I mean, the Colts
I'll
are a
tell you
bigger
this,
market
I
than
think
Bears. You
That's,
know?
now, the market thing is real, and I know people don't like fans don't want to hear that. But when you have a generational reach as a team, do you know when we made trades with like for Darnold or whatever, and how many bumps our videos would get just because it's like you could be a Jets podcast and they are not even good, and you can do mad numbers and not even be good as a podcast. And like these guys have it's something that we're really trying to create here. And the little babies in that process blue are a big part of it. And getting a damn Super Bowl will be a giant part of us continuing to.
That's the hope with Bryce Young. If we can maintain a level of success that keeps us in the conversation in the media on a regular basis. If I'm being real with you, the reason that Anthony Richardson's at the top of that list
because he's going to be a number 1 fantasy player this year.
It's not even that too, but it's not even just a matter of their market being bigger. You know how many fans have transplanted to the Colts because of one person? Pat McAfee.
Oh,
Pat McAfee. His entire show. If there's anything Colts related, it's the Colts. It's the Pat McAfee Colts show, right? If there's any, and that's for pretty much the entire 3 hours they talk.
We
about
got Steve Smith coming for you.
Well, Steve Smith is still dealing with the same stuff. I mean, I love his podcast, but he's not getting the reach that he deserves with his personality.
He's building it. He's got to build it. He's going to have to build it. It doesn't come overnight.
Yeah. Can I tell you what'll make the media, I think, give us a little more attention? I mean, there's a couple of things, obviously, but a division win would give us a little attention. But I'll tell you what the best thing. Back-to-back winning seasons.
Amen.
Yes.
Back-to-back winning seasons
consistency, dude.
Means you have some kind of relevance and you are building something.
That was always
put that together.
That was always the reason that, I think, again, why we're disrespected is that, but also even when we've had a quarterback at the helm, like that's always been the criticism for Cam Newton and Ron Rivera is they were never able to, tie those things together. Everyone wants to talk about the 3 back-to-back NFC South championships.
One was on a losing season.
Exactly. It was a losing season. One of the first times that's happened in the entire NFL.
Guess what? He's done it again. He did it again with the Commanders.
Exactly.
Ron Rivera is king of backing
leading
it
the
up.
league in that.
Trying to go get Andrew Luck. Come on, dude.
Yeah,
Right.
that's funny.
He is.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
tried,
Yeah.
I saw Irsay say that if somebody talks to him,
Yeah,
it's tampering,
Jim
but I didn't
Irsay-
know where the murmurs.
Yeah,
came
the
from.
Commanders were rumored to
yeah.
have wanted to reach out to Andrew Luck about him returning, and dude, it's just like he hadn't called Cam Newton yet, so he's gonna call Andrew Luck. That's kind of wild. People were also fighting because they needed something to fight about between North Carolina and South Carolina. On Twitter and in the chat. But White Chocolate Espresso says South Carolina better than North Carolina because that's South Carolina. People know how to tip. Hey, appreciate that $1.99.
Don't know how to fund roads and schools though.
The first week I lived in South Carolina in college, the newspaper read on the front, South Carolina last in the country in education. Vast improvement from last year. And it's like, if you're still last, how is there a vast improvement? Doesn't that right there
leapfrog Puerto Rico?
Yes.
They leapfrog Puerto Rico.
And then my man C3 Anthony Picarello says, Cody, can't wait till you hear my call. You will love it. I've been saying this exact same thing. No respect for our team. Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the draft. I hear you, Anthony.
You think it's that he could be boring though?
That's part of it.
No, Tony won literally 100%. And listen, the fact that he's smaller, he's kind of meek. He doesn't speak up. He's a shorter dude. He
not controversial. There's nothing.
Not controversial.
It's not even a negative thing to it. It's just like
he doesn't have a lot of pop and
vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to start to heap the praises.
Say that again.
Je ne sais quoi.
Nice. What does it mean?
I don't even know. But I know it made sense.
Sounds awesome.
I know it did sound good.
Yeah. Have you ever seen How High? Method Man, Redman movie. He goes, he said something. I've been pimping since your grandpa been pimping. He said, I don't know what now, nutter. And the guy goes in the car. He goes, I don't know what that shit means, but it sound good.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it is. But no, the fact that he doesn't have a Cam Newton larger than life personality, and bravado. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think that's another part of the reason why we're being slept on. And yeah, maybe more people would be talking about us if we had made the controversial picks and picked an Anthony Richardson.
Oh, totally,
1,000%.
Yeah,
be all over the news. I do think I'm going to pick Anthony Richardson high in fantasy football this year. Then
you've got to, dude,
because he could get like 1,100 rushing yards.
You have to because let's be fair. Let's look at the Colts offense and tell me who's receiving the ball on that team.
Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, they got Jonathan Taylor, and that's it. And that's
Jonathan Taylor, the running back. And so this is going to be largely a run first.
It's going to be like a Cam Newton offense.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I tell listen, that their offensive line has been reeling for whatever reason. Their best players have been less than ideal, like bottom tier in the NFL. And so I think Anthony Richardson's going to be taking off and running a lot, similar to what Justin Fields did last year. I think that's a similar trajectory you could see for Anthony Richardson. And that's if they let him do that. If they do, like the Bears, that's what they had to do. They had to open up the offense and say, listen, we just got to let Justin Fields do what he does. And he, got me into the playoffs in my fantasy league last year. So, it's a risky play because even Justin Fields got hurt last year, but I think you've got to draft him high.
Do you think that they're already putting Bryce? Tony, I remember a couple weeks ago you made the comparison of Bryce Young to Alex Smith, and a lot of people got really upset at you when you said that because people don't think very highly of Alex Smith. Like they think of the guy that was worse than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers should have went number one. He bounced around to multiple different teams. But he had that kind of dink and dunk tag put on him that followed him around in his career. Do you think people are already putting that on Bryce Young? That he's a little bit of a safe quarterback, doesn't have the arm talent, more of a Tua Tagovailoa style of quarterback. Did you think that plays into it?
Yes. And he doesn't have a bazooka. He doesn't. And I was hard on Alex Smith for a while because, again, you come with all of the expectation of being the number 1 draft pick, but he was in a shit show of a place in San Francisco. But he got it together when they brought in who's the guy that we wanted, Harbaugh, as a coach. They brought in Harbaugh. He played well, and then he went and played with Andy Reid. And when he went to the Chiefs in his oldest age of quarterback, and he started pushing the ball downfield. So it wasn't an inability. Sometimes the inability to push the ball down the field has got to do with the team just as much as it has to do with the player. There is some real suspect questions, though, about Tua's arm talent, though. I was watching, and maybe I'm just basing it off of a couple of highlights. Actually, not maybe. I am basing it off of a couple of highlights. I was watching ESPN today or yesterday. Man, I was at a place and they had it in the background. I couldn't even hear it. It was just like Tua Tagovailoa had 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, had a great year, but also was like not very great in his completion percentage or something, which was strange. But a lot of the deeper balls, the receivers are waiting. They were waiting.
Yeah.
And I know those guys are also the fastest guys on earth with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So they're always going to be waiting. But you could say that his superpower definitely is not his arm. Right. I mean, you could just see it right away. And I think there is, and I know people, you don't want to look. I mean, we said we got to defend, we got to support, we love him. We just can't believe that his arm strength is his super talent. I don't think it is. Well, and we'll see if it translates. I want to see if it catches up.
Do you think Drew Brees' arm strength was his super talent? Strength,
no.
Not like, okay, so that's the only question. Because if that's the case, if I can get that kind of productivity without the arm strength and still get that, I'm okay.
Right.